Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, April 25th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. Joined by my co-host here, Monday and Tuesday afternoons for me, and Monday and Tuesday evenings for you, Marcel. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, everything is good, man. How about you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm looking forward to talking about this card today. Just tweeted it out, Marcel, and we're good to go. So happy to have you guys here as always. We have a lot to talk about, Marcel. UFC Vegas 52 went down. 2 Bellator cards. PFL, LFA, and what was the other one? Fury Fighting Championship. Like, there's a lot to talk about, Marcel. We like to even talk about the little shows, right, Marcel? We like doing that too. So, a lot to talk about today, guys. We'll start with UFC, but I do see we have a question in the chat, and I will take the question quickly. Got hype here as well. What's going on, man? And Glenn, what's going on, Glenn? Glad to have you here, buddy, as always. He's asking why Chase Sherman pulled out and why so late. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this was weird, right? Like, the card's going on, then all of a sudden they go, Brendan Fitzgerald, Marcel, we have a special announcement to make about the card. I know you were excited. This guy got, well, I won't say it, but he got super excited. And then, of course, they pulled the rug from us, Marcel. I was like, the fight's off. The fight was off. So I'm going to say this right now. If you had Romanov in DraftKings, which I think most people had, you pretty much lost your money. Because, if you don't fight, you get 0 points. So, very hard to win. Really crazy that happened, man. As far as what happened, I don't know for sure, but someone was saying that, Chase Sherman was riding a motorcycle that afternoon or something. What do you know, Marcel? That's what I heard, but I have no idea.
Okay, that's new to me. I don't know. I think you wanted to say that I got an instant boner or something. I just say that I don't give a shit. So,
kind of, yeah, but I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, what I've heard. So I saw obviously that Brendan Fitzgerald announced that the fight was off. So I actually asked Romanov's manager. I was like, "What's up?" And he's like, "We literally came to the event center because he's also the manager of Jessica Andrade. I said, I literally come with Romanov to there, and they say you can go back to the hotel. Chase Sherman isn't fighting." I was like, "What? He's not fighting. No, he has a minor injury, but it will probably be rescheduled for next week if you guys want. But we will talk the details later." Yeah. So this is back to the hotel, and he went back. The manager actually went to the event center, and they got the details correct, and that's why it's on for Saturday now. But what happened to Sherman? It's a big, I don't know, and I think nobody knows, man. Only Sherman and the guys who are working with Sherman. So
check your DMs. I just sent you something. That's all I saw. I have no idea.
Right.
I mean, so I'm in a survivor pool where you have to pick someone every week. Basically, if you get an underdog right, you get like an extra life, basically. But most people took Romanov because he's like a safe pick. So everyone was scrambling to get another pick out there after that fight got canceled. What are you gonna say? You see it?
That crazy chick has.
I know it couldn't mean anything, right? That's what I'm saying. You should.
She blocked me. I don't know what she said.
Yeah. It's just a picture of him riding a motorcycle or something.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what this guy's saying. This is what he's saying. I mean, we have no idea. Maybe he felt. Who knows, man? Like, but it's weird. Like a minor injury. Like, what does that even mean, right? Like, it's very strange, and I don't know. Like, it's kind of like doesn't happen often. Guys pull out during the day of the fight. Or actually during the event, I should say. Like, it's happened a few times. I remember Stefan Struve had like a panic attack Marcel against Matt Mitrione, UFC 175. Do you remember that? He had a panic attack backstage.
Of course.
And Jamal Amers, I want to say, rolled his ankle or something against Chaskelly. Yeah. So it's very rare. It's for who else?
Randleman for his title fight.
That's right. Way back in the day. He hit his head or something on I remember that. Hopefully Romanov got paid twice. I mean, you should get paid show money, right? Twice. They should. UFC might not, but they should.
By the way,
this guy's asking if Sherman will pull again. I don't think so, man. If he pulls out again, they'll probably just release him from his contract. Quite frankly, So what do you say?
I'm gonna be a punk here. Never send me a link of that chick you sent me just now with DM again, because now I have to clean my phone with soap.
That's funny. Let's see what we got. Joe here. What's up, man? Always glad to have you here, buddy. Alex, put $3 on Mike Jackson won me a unit. I mean, I gotta tell you, I don't know if Gabe's in the chat today. Gabe Killian, he used to write for MMAOddsmaker.com. He's a high roller. He's betting 4 to 5 figures a fight. Most people don't have the means to do that. Gabe has been betting this sport for a long time. He's obviously built up a very big bankroll. I got to give him a lot of props, man. He posted his bet hours before the fight saying, "I'm betting 3,000 to win, 27,000 on Mike Jackson." And I sent the tweet to Cole, and I'm like, "This guy's crazy," and he won. And I got to give him mad props. that takes serious balls to do that, Marcel. Not only did he win his bet, he posted the bet beforehand. And
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
yeah, people were obviously like going, "You're nuts," right? And he gets the job done. I mean, we'll talk about that fight in a second here, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Dude,
and then go ahead.
I think Gabe also has some restaurant, right?
Yeah, chicken or something like that.
Yeah, hot chicken wings. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to go with.
By the way, yeah, Charles Ring was paid. He was paid for the Topuria pull-up because I watched his interview this week. He said the UFC took care of him. They paid him to show money for that fight.
He should get a bonus, man.
And we'll talk about that too, man. I can't believe this guy's not getting a bonus. Tristan, what's up? He's asking about Deerberry and Mike Jackson. You know what? Let's just get into the fights right now.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy, guys. Obviously, we'll start with the main event. Actually, we'll work our way down, I guess. So sorry, Tristan, I have to wait a few minutes to answer your question, but we'll go through the card, and obviously we're going to go through a couple, a bunch of different fights and a lot of MMA fights today, because again, there was a few different cards. So let's start with UFC Vegas 52 Marcel. And overall, for me, it was a pretty good night. It's hilarious. I'm watching the fights. I get the first 3 picks wrong. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be one of those nights again. I just can't get a pick. And like went 8-0 after that. So it's just one of those. It's one of those things, man. Like every fight's different. Every fight's its own event, So it's crazy, Marcel. But I gotta tell you, after the first couple fights, I was like, man, I cannot pick a fight. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I fucking nailed every single one after that. So let's get to the main event. I mean, I thought it was gonna be a knockout, but a submission works either way. Jessica Andrade gets the job done. Standing arm triangle choke. It's first of its kind in UFC history. But, and I said this on Twitter, it kind of happened when Matt Riddle fought Chris Clements in Calgary. He had him in a standing arm triangle. He pulled him down to the mat and finished him. The fight was overturned to a no contest because he smoked weed. So, yeah, I guess technically this would be the first. But I'm just saying, Marcel, you remember that fight? That kind of counts too, in my opinion. But either way, Jessica Andrade win, another win. I think we both picked her here, Marcel, obviously, to finish the fight. Gets the job done. Her last 5 wins are by finish. I mean, she is, to me, one of the most exciting top-for-pound fighters in the sport. Every time she steps in the cage, it's a war. And in this fight, she didn't absorb much damage. Lemos only landed 3 strikes. She only landed 3, but gets the sub. Really fantastic performance here, Marcel. Give me your thoughts, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, gotta be honest. I expected her to get a knockout, and Lemos wasn't doing bad at all. In the beginning of the fight, I had the feeling that Andrade had a problem with getting her distance, and with Lemos landing some stuff. And at a certain moment, Andrade was like, "Fuck it, I'm going forward." I'm take her to the cage, and I don't know where she had that choke in, but it wasn't locked in. But at a certain moment, she locked it in actually, and Lemos didn't know what to do, and she tapped. So a good win for Andrade, a very needed win, obviously, because she went to strawweight, and I expect her to be in the top 5 tomorrow. So
yeah. And Glenn's talking about all that Lemos personality. I think after that Angela Hill fight, I think a lot of us figured she's not as good as we thought at first. And I think she showed that again. She's definitely good. She beats a lot of the girls in the top 15 or so, but I think Andrade is like elite. She's top. I guess right now she'll be ranked in the top 10, but like really she's top 3 probably, or top 5 at the very least. Marcel, like she's right up there. She's a fantastic fighter.
It depends a little on where you are in Brazil.
Marcel, I'm hearing something. I can hear some Brazil or something. Anyways,
you hear me?
No, I'm okay now.
Oh, perfect.
I feel like the stage choke happens mostly in women's MMA. It's happened only a few times. Like I remember Jessica I did it against Zoila Frosto in Bellator. That was a standing arm triangle choke.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare though, Tristan. It's just a rare move. Because most fighters are able to fight out of that, especially standing up. But again, that the squeeze was tight. As far as what's next for her, I mean, she says she's going for another title run. And I mean, I was there in Brazil and she knocked out Rose with that slam. She can definitely win the title again. I don't know who'd win. Actually, it'd be a trilogy fight if she fought Rose again because they're 1-1. And the second fight was a close split decision, Marcel. It was very competitive. So I would like to see that fight again. But I think for now, we're going to have to see what happens. I think it's next weekend, obviously, with Rose and Carla, Marcel, in the rematch there.
Yeah.
And then Marina Rodriguez probably gets the next title shot, but we also have Joanna versus Zhang. So either she fights Marina next or the winner of Joanna and Zhang, I think, would make sense. And the Joanna fights 3 rounds, Marcel. We have that confirmation now, which sucks. I wish it was 5, but it is what it is. But yeah, let me get this comment. Hey, Andrew. So like UFC will use Andrade to halt Marina's momentum. It's good to fight Marina. She's just thought the market will be hard for a title fight. So, I mean, I don't completely disagree with you. She's a very good fighter, though. But yeah, I think that makes sense. But they're going to have to wait. They're just going to wait another week. There's no point of rushing a booking, because we have the title fight next week. If it was like in a few months, I'd get it, but we have to see how that plays out because, Carla could win again too, Marcel, and that changes a lot of things, right? If she pulls off the upset. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, great performance by Andrade. All right, let's go to the co-main event. My boy again, Marcel Claudio Puelles again. Gets the job done again, man. Oh my. So I feel like I went against the grain because pretty much everyone I was talking to was like, Guida's going to wrestle this guy. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it feels good sticking to your guns, Marcel. Hit Puelles. It was like basically even money, but the sub prop guys plus 400. Hope you guys tailed it. I know a lot of people read my article and tailed it. I had my friends, Marcel, like personal friends, messaging me saying, "Yo, dude, I just hit this huge prop with you." So that feels good, man. I got to be honest. That feels better than anything. To be honest with you, because I like this. If I have a good read, I'd love to share that knowledge with other people. So I just think Puelles is just an absolute monster. 5 wins in a row. Again, the guy's only 25 years old, Marcel. He just turned 26, literally 4 days ago. He's so good, and this win is huge for him. And it gets him, I think, a fight against a top 15 guy, hopefully. I think this guy's the future of this division, man. Like one of the best young fighters in this division. I know he's not, maybe the striking is not completely there yet, but the ground game is devastating. 3 knee bar submissions in the UFC. No one else has more than 2. He's the only guy with 2, and now he has 3. So it's a signature move, Marcel. But not only did he have the knee bar, Marcel, before that he had Clay Guida in, I think it was a triangle for a while too, right? So
also in omoplata.
Omoplata. The guy is really good. Marcel, I've liked this guy for a while. Give me your thoughts on this kid because I love this guy, man.
Yeah, man, he did great again. And I told you in the last podcast that you got me over on Puelles, right? And I picked him by decision. I didn't thought he was going to finish Guida, but amazing, man. And the thing is with Puelles, man, I would love to see a fight, for example, against Joel Alvarez or maybe Drakkar Klose. It's still not top 15, but it's close to top 15. I think that would be those would be great fights. And definitely Joel Alvarez was also pretty good on the ground. That would be a fun one, I think. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? I was really. I thought he was going to win, but not the way he did. He did very well. Guida's super tough, man. We all know that. And Guida, he pretty much initiated the ground game, and I think it was a mistake, against Puelles. And good win for Puelles. Look forward what we see next from him.
I just think it's a really big win because I'm looking at Guida's losses recently. It's like Puelles, Mark Madsen, Bobby Green, Jim Miller, Oliveira, Ortega. Like these are like top guys for the most part. So this is a big win for this guy, man. Yeah. Again, he's 26 years old, guys. He's very young. I really like this guy, man, a lot. Clay was overconfident with wrestling, take him down. Yeah, it was a mistake. A lot of guys were taking him down. Jordan Levitt. I feel like Jordan won the first round against him, I'm pretty sure. And then after that, Puelles actually had the grappling advantage. I hope they don't match Puelles to McKinney. I don't think they'll do that fight. McKinney's got to rebuild himself, man, after getting finished against Dober. He's good, but he's got like 2 minutes of cardio, it looks like. Marcel. I really like the kid, though. URJ switched to Guida. Good job, man. Glad you picked Puelles. He's really good. Puelles joined Charles, Islam, Benil, Fiziev, Armin on win streaks at lightweight. I mean, all these guys are beasts. And again, we talked about the division recently. Like, Gregory Gillespie doesn't fight. He's blocking everyone from getting in there. He's got to take a fight, Marcel. Honestly, at this point, he should fight Puelles, should fight Gillespie. Maybe he'll sub him.
Honestly, if he doesn't get a fight booked in this month or next month, they should kick him out of the rankings.
I agree completely. I mean, we talked about it. Like, he's the only guy that's really not active. Like, I feel like Gamrot's asking for a fight every day on Twitter. Why doesn't he have a fight yet? I don't get this. I don't get it. Hopefully they book him against like RDA or something. I saw them talking the other day, Marcel. I don't know if they'll do that fight, but it'd be good. He's good, man. Which one do you prefer, Puelles or Madsen Ferreira? I mean, both those fights are good, man. I think Ferreira would be great. He's number 15 right now, I believe, right? That'd be great. Yeah, but Madsen also deserves top 15. It's just tough. It's tough, man. I mean, they're all really good. Yeah, I really like him, man. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. Macy Barber defeats Montana De La Rosa. Yeah, I mean, it was honestly pretty easy fight. She stopped the takedowns, just pretty much bullied her against the fence, beat her with clinch strikes. Not the most exciting fight, but got the job done. This girl's so full of herself, though. I watched her interview after. Like, she's so overconfident and is really overrating herself. She's definitely good and she's young. That's why I picked her here. But Montana was like, what is she ranked? 4th, I want to say? Like, she was ranked. She wasn't even ranked. She beat an unranked fighter. We all know she lost against Maverick. So, I don't know, man. I feel like she's definitely good. She could beat these girls, but some of these girls, like, borderline top 15. But honestly, Marcel, the more she gets up in that upper echelon, I'm not sure, But any thoughts on her, this performance?
Last week, that should have been probably fight of the night, but this week, that was the boredom of the card. Barber was definitely in the first and third round just stronger than Montana. And I think the second round, Montana had our better moments, but also not really great. She didn't do too much with top position, and Macy did well, I think. So yeah, an overall a good win for her. You know what I mean? And a win she actually needed, in my opinion, because I still think she lost her last three, despite that she got the win over Maverick. But in the public eye, I think people thought she lost the last three, but she won now. She can look up again. And let's see what's happening next. Do it, I said on Twitter, and people weren't happy about it. I was like, if Aaron Blanchfield beats JJ Eldridge, book Macy Barber against Aaron Blanchfield. And let's see who's the real future, right?
Yeah, and who they do, Barber, Maya versus I think both those fights make sense. She could win those fights. I'll give her that. There's certain matchups she can win, but I don't know. She's good. Don't get me wrong, guys. She's definitely good. I just think she's really overrating herself. Like, she won a decision. Like,
I booked against O'Neal, man. So probably not gonna happen. Also, O'Neal is also girls. They want to be rise quick in the rankings.
Like, she could beat someone like Joanne Wood. Actually, looking at the rankings,
that's a good fight.
Actually. Yeah, that would be a good one. There's some girls she could be, like probably Andrea Lee too. But I think I'll give you an example. Like Viviane Araújo, I think would be a really hard matchup. Mana Fiorot would be a hard fight, I think too. I don't think she beats those girls in the top 5, Marcel. I'll tell you that right now.
Let's put it this way, Adam. The girls she can't bully with being the stronger, she will have difficulties with.
I completely agree. I mean, she's definitely a good prospect, guys, but I don't think she's a future champ. I'm going to say that right now. I know she thinks she will be. I don't see it. I'm just going to say that right now. I just think there's a lot of girls coming up, like, they're dangerous as hell. And I feel like Casey O'Neill is probably a better fighter, and so is Andrew Blanchfield. Just my opinion. She's definitely a good prospect, but I don't think she's the best in the division.
Also not sold yet on Casey O'Neill. I think she is talented and she's good, but
I need to see more. Last fight, she took a lot of damage against Roxanne, more than she should have, Marcel. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to the next fight here. My boy, Charles Jourdain, gets the win. First round guillotine choke, man with guillotine. Just incredible, man. I mean, Venata, definitely, big dude for this weight class, dangerous striker and everything, but gets caught in that choke. And I am just fucking pissed that this guy gets screwed out of the bonus. How did he not get 50,000? Tell me. How did he not get 50,000?
He got screwed out of a bonus last time against Rojo as well when he fought.
That fight was fight of the night. That was an incredible fight.
Yeah,
I know.
So yeah, I mean, what can you say? It was a great performance. He had that one-armed guillotine where he got that ass grip over later, and he adjusted it, and he pulled Venata's pants down and went to submission. It was pretty funny, but man, Venata had a beautiful. What was that? A beautiful takedown, man. Almost a power table with that kind of a suplex kind of a thing. It was beautiful, but. Jourdain came up. My apologies, and beautiful shot, man. And it was a good night for the French Canadians, right?
It was. We'll talk about Marc-Andre in a sec, but yeah, I think this is just such a huge win. So before the fight, because I tweeted about it, I watched his pre-fight interview. And he said, if I win this fight, I'm going to call Edson Barboza, and that's what he did. So he stuck to his word. That's the fight. That fight has to happen, Marcel. Yeah. It has to happen, right?
I think it's a great fight. I'd love to see it, man.
Yeah, that fight would be amazing. It'd be an interesting fight, man. I mean, Edson is a great fighter. He's obviously getting up there in years now. Not as durable as he used to be, coming off a loss to Bryce Mitchell. But again, that was a ground game. So it's funny because I listened because he got the submission, right? Mm-hmm. He's saying if I fight him, I'm not gonna go for grappling. I'm gonna stand and trade with this guy. I want to stand and trade. I want to bleed. Like, I want to die in the cage, basically, if he has to, And he said. And then someone was like, well, you got the guillotine choke in this fight, right? And he goes, guys, have you ever seen me shoot in my life? And I'm like, I got to check the stats. He has not attempted a takedown in like 10 UFC fights. So he won't shoot on a takedown. He wants to stand and trade. That's the fight to make. Also hilarious at the post-fight press conference. I showed you the clip, Marcel. John Morgan, one of the better journalists, goes to Claudio Puelles. He's like, hey, Claudio, so you called out Edson Barboza. Claudio's like, what? He's like, Barboza. He's like, I didn't call anyone up. He's like, oh, I meant to say Jourdain. I'm like, dude, different weight class. I thought that was hilarious. Although that would be a good fight too if it was at 155. But I do want to see Jourdain and Barboza, or Shane Burgos, either guy. I think both of those fights would be phenomenal. I know he got the submission in this fight, but he's obviously a striker. Any other thoughts on Jourdain?
Yeah, I think everything I said. You are very impressed. I was as well, and I think we both think he should have got a bonus. So yeah.
And then the other Canadian, I think he should have got a bonus too. Honestly, Marc-Andre Barriault getting the guillotine choke, back-to-back guillotines for the Canadians, Marcel, in the first round.
For the submission.
Yeah. 232 and 236 in the first round. Neither guy gets a submission. First career submission for Barriault. Jordan Wright's getting cut from the UFC, I'd say, after this fight, Marcel. What do you think about that? You think he gets cut?
I don't know for sure, man. Possible, of course, but you
never
know.
In all of his losses, man. I think that's it for him. Maybe he'll get.
But he's an entertaining guy.
Yeah, maybe he'll get one more. I'm just looking at his record now. It's not very good, but he does have win over Pickett, who's like kind of decent, I guess, at this point. And Aiku lost, but yeah, Barriault, big win for him. It was a catchweight, Marcel, and someone asked him after are you going to stick it, or no, are you going to go to 205? He said no, I'm staying at 185. So
well. Why would anybody ask him that? It was a
Some
short
of the questions
notice
are not very good these days. I'll John's good. He's pretty good at asking questions. Some reporters, I don't think they're doing the research. It's unfortunate because there's not a lot of reporters there. So if you are there, there's a couple guys who are asking good questions, but there's some really there's questions that don't need to be asked. Quite frankly, obviously he's going to 185. It was short notice. We all know that.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's good, man. I like Barriault, Marcel. He's really improved too.
I don't know who asked that question, but I hope next time when Tanner Bozo fights, the same guy ask him if he wants to go to 205 next.
He was pissed that one time. Yeah, Jourdain and Billy Q. That'd be fun. Barboza, Duato, Jourdain, Algio. Man, come on. Why would he fight Bill Algio? I don't think that's the fight. What do you think, Marcel? I don't think so, man. Give him what he called out. He was supposed to fight Ilya Topuria, guys. Remember that? I know it was short notice, but still.
I'll give him Barboza. Why not?
I know. Algio's not bad. I'll give you that, man. He's not a bad fighter, but he's not great either. Give him Barboza. But I know you're saying at least Algio probably would stand and trade with him. Give him a striker, though, man. I want to see him in a war. He wants to bleed. He says he wants to bleed and get cut. All right, let's talk about a war here. Suri Kendashko defeats Strike Grant by knockout. I called this one too, Marcel. I think you picked him too, right? You picked Kendashko?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One of the reasons I picked him is, even though he didn't have as much UFC experience, he had 30 MMA fights. And Dwight Grant just doesn't fight that much, and he's older. So the durability, really, Dwight Grant's chin is kind of going or so, You saw that fight with D-Rod. He got into a war there and he got knocked out. And then this fight, he gets dropped again. So he got dropped 3 times against D-Rod, twice against Kendashko. I think his chin's going, Marcel. It was just a beautiful left hook that knocked him out. Kendashko's a good striker, guys. Like I said, he's definitely a good Muay Thai fighter. I still think he's going to get beaten by grapplers. But on the feet, Marcel, this guy's pretty good, man. It was a great fight. And here's the thing. I think it's fine giving them fight of the night. I don't have a problem with it because it was the best fight in the card. But I just have a problem. It's kind of weird that Dwight Grant's getting $50,000 for getting knocked out. And then Jourdain and Barriault get nothing. That doesn't really sit well with me, Marcel. I don't know what you think. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, fight of the night, everybody got $50K, right? Both guys. So I don't have a problem with it. But I think last week you could have done with less performance bonuses, and this week you could have done with more. You know what I mean? So also, man, why the hell they only announced that shit on the Chinese website from the UFC who got fight of the night?
That was really strange.
Really stupid. It's that I check the Chinese website pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a deserved fight of the night. It was the best fight of the night, in my opinion, so I had no problem with it. Yeah, of course. The thing is, I always feel remember when Dana gave so many bonuses at UFC London, when he was hyped like crazy, Dude, you can also do that for the North American cards, you know what I mean? And not just for the cards you're going somewhere else to another place in Europe and trying to be a little bit more popular, Give these guys fighting as hard as these other guys. So these deserve also a bonus. And people will come at me and saying yeah, but they probably get something under the table. Dude, last time I saw somebody got something under the table and he posted it on Twitter with, I got some extra cash from the UFC for my fight. And he... how do you say that? He blacked out the amount of money, but it was written before it in letters as well, and it was only $7K. You know what I mean?
Yeah, was that Matt Frevola? Because I know he posted something. Was that?
It wasn't Frevola.
Frevola also posted that he got. I think he got $7K for knocking out who was it? Oh, that Mexican guy from Contender Series. I can't remember his name. You know that crazy fight, Valdez, Gerardo Valdez, or
Valdez,
something.
of course, yeah.
Yeah, that crazy fight. So I think his brother posted something. And he deleted the tweet after, but it was already out there at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like you might get something on the table. I do think back in the day and under the Fertitas, they gave out more under the table money, Marcel. It felt like I heard those stories a lot more. I used to hear about guys that were getting checks in the mail for like $20,000 if they got a knockout. I remember I interviewed Tim Boach after he knocked out Yushin Okami, and I said, remember that fight, that crazy uppercut, those uppercuts, insane, right? At the time, a massive upset. I remember asking him, like, you didn't get a bonus, like, or something. Let me double check. I want to make sure. But I remember he told me, like, they sent him extra money. Like, I'm just trying to make sure he didn't or he did. Yeah, he didn't get a bonus officially, but he told me they sent him like $20,000 check in the mail or something. I don't hear that anymore, Pardon me?
Yeah, I know. So, I do a podcast on Mondays as well with Gilbert Ivel and Dennis. Gilbert said, like, for his debut fight on short notice against Junior Dos Santos, Dana came to him after the fight, and he's like, "We give you an extra $50K bonus because we appreciate you took the fight."
Yeah, I don't feel like they do it anymore. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't hear those stories. And I think if they did, you'd hear it. I think you'd hear the guys come out and say, "Hey, they slipped me some money under the table." So
yeah, definitely not with social media being much bigger.
Yeah, I know Jeff Molina said he got some money. I can't remember what fight it was. I think maybe it
was actually fight. Jeff Molina I was talking about.
Oh, were you? Okay, yeah, I remember he was tweeting about that.
Da Silva.
But it wasn't much, right? It just wasn't much. 7,000 is a drop in the bucket for a multi-billion-dollar company. Anyways, let's go to the next fight. Tyson Pedro knocks out Ike Villanueva. Yeah, Tyson Pedro looked amazing. So like I said last week, Marcel, or with the car admin, the survivor pool, I took Romanov, and then once he fell off, I had to scramble, and I was like deciding really between Pedro and Andrade. I just took Pedro because, again, massive favorite. He gets the job done. I'm not surprised, I mean, the layoff was concerning a little bit to me, the injuries and everything, but Ike Villanueva was just not a UFC fighter, Marcel. He's 1-5 now with 5 knockout losses in the UFC. And he cannot even eat a leg kick, like they were saying. Like, remember DC was like, man, he's like, this is surprising. Like, this guy's he's just not able to absorb even one kick without like getting in super amount of pain. And I heard his I think he tore his MCL, I think he said. So he's injured and he got knocked out cold on those ground punches. I think he's getting released, Marcel. What do you think?
I would be surprised if not, man. No disrespect to Ike, but I think his only win comes against Vinicius Moreira, I think, and that's a guy.
That guy's chin was so bad.
Yeah, crazy. And I don't think we see Villanueva back. I think Villanueva was a super legit guy in the regional scene. He was doing very well there.
Yeah,
UFC just too high for him, and it's possible,
Yeah, back to Fury Fight Championship, I think, for him. But for Pedro, I mean, it's a good win, man. Like as far as how he did it, like the name of value is not great, but I mean, this was the perfect matchup coming off that layoff.
Yeah.
And Pedro's only 30 years old, Marcel. He's still pretty young for this division. So I was impressed. I mean, obviously, it's not the hardest guy to beat to finish, but the fact he did it after such a long layoff, it's a good win for him. Just to get some confidence back. Ike's not smart bringing his kid and getting put out like that, crumpling against the fence. It was brutal. His son is like a football player or something like that. So it's definitely an athletic family, no doubt. But I mean, this was rough. I mean, that's a part of the sport, man. He could have won and his son was there to celebrate with him, but he lost. It's tough, man. When I had my Muay Thai fight, my dad was there, Marcel. I mean, it's hard for family to watch, honestly. Like, it's not easy,
Yeah.
But if you win, it's nice. But if you lose or if you get beat up, it's tough to watch. What are you saying?
I was at a local event a few years ago, and there was 2 guys against each other fighting, and we were like as media there, and the family of one guy was behind us, and that dude got absolutely blasted with a head kick and he felt like down on the canvas. You were a big bong, and we were watching each other. I was like, oh damn. And even the dude who kicked him was like, oh shit, and that dude was laying there like, like this, and dude, the family members behind us, they were crying. It was kind of sad. The guy was okay, was nothing wrong with the guy, but that moment, man, that was tough. You know what I mean? If you see people behind you who are crying because of something like that happened, that was a tough moment, man.
Yeah, and Papa, hey buddy, what's going on? He says he's a wrestler. I know Cole interviewed him. He said he was a football player. Maybe he wrestles too. That's what I'm going to say though. obviously he's an athletic kid. Who knows? I mean, maybe he'll end up in the UFC one day. Who knows, right? Let's go to the next fight here. Marcel Arichi Lang defeats Cameron Else knockout. Cameron Else, I don't think is UFC caliber, but nice win though. Brutal win, man. Just nasty ground and pound. Any thoughts?
Yeah, UFC might looking for someone else next, but yeah. I mean, yeah, he crumbled after a good shot, right, from our Chilang.
Yeah.
And our Chilang pretty much finished it with some ground and pound, and it was a good win for him. New weight class, 0-2 in the UFC, with two good fights. For him, were two close fights against Molina and against Cody Durden. So yeah, now bantamweight, he looked good. Looking forward to what's next for him. This was a good fight for him.
He's super young,
Yeah.
He's only 28, so he's really young. And like you said, those fights were close. The referee, Keith Peterson, stopped this fight really late, too.
I
That
agree.
that was a late stoppage, man. Like, this dude was... The referee's there to save the guy. If the guy's like this and he's face down on the mat, he walks out.
He was...
That's the thing with this guy. He just... Both his fights, Marcel, were finished that way.
Was
Against,
on the...
Phillips, too.
On cigarettes and alcohol again.
That's too funny. But no, it's crazy, right? That this guy, both his losses are from back control on the ground. Elbows from Phillips and punches from Arichi Lang. So you get this guy, the mat. I mean, he can get finished. All right, next fight. And this was a fight. We didn't get a chance to talk about this fight last week because it was booked on extremely short notice after an injury. Preston Parkinson's defeat Evan Elder. I felt like this was such a hard fight to call. I really did.
And at the end of the day, it wasn't actually. Yeah.
It wasn't at the end of the day. I agree. On paper, it was a pick'em fight.
Yeah.
And if you saw the staff picks, it was split, Marcel, at Oddsbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
It was very tough to call on paper just because Elder was undefeated. And if you watch the tape, which I did, he looked really good. But Parsons obviously up a weight class. That's the thing. He's 170. This guy's 155. That's the difference. I think Elder's going to have a better career. But this fight was Parsons. He looked good. Gets his first win in the UFC. I got to give this guy credit, man. Getting an opponent switch up is not easy. And he pretty much dominated the fight for the most part, Marcel. I'd say, maybe a couple hard shots from Elder, but I think Parsons looked pretty good. I don't know what his ceiling is, guys. I think he's a pretty good grappler, but I'm still not sold on him being like an amazing MMA fighter, but I'm happy for the guy to get his first win. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think I heard him say as well. Like, I didn't want it to be boring in my first fight, so I took some risks. I was like, dude, be yourself, don't go take risk, and definitely not against Daniel Rodriguez. So this was a good fight from him. I think he dominated from start to end, looked really good on the ground, also pretty okay on the feet, but his ground game was really strong.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw that Elder is actually a 155er. He was out grappled, he was out muscled, everything. But a good win for Parsons. He also has it's also short notice for him, right? He was supposed to fight Kosi. So, yeah, a good win for Parsons and a good bounce back after his debut loss, I think.
Who would you have picked, Kosi or Parsons? Who were you going to pick?
I think then I would have picked Parsons probably. So I switched with I went for Elder.
And you know what's good to see with this guy? I think all of his wins by stoppage before, like all first round or second round, gets the job done by decision. That's good to see. So give him that. This was the other surprise for me. The next one, Marcel, I really thought Prashio was going to win this fight against Linz. This was surprising to me. I'll give Linz some credit, man. He showed up in really good shape. He looked big at the weigh-ins. He looked really big. It obviously had formed heavyweight. And it made me a little bit worried, but I still thought Prashio was going to knock him out. First round, Prashio looked great. But I think he tired himself out, gassed out a little bit, Marcel. And then after that, he got rocked badly in the second round. Survived, but got rocked bad. And the fight after that didn't go his way. So I'll give Lynch credit, man. He got the job done. He shut me up with this one. This was, of all the fights in the card, this is the one I felt the most wrong about, just because I didn't think the fight would go this way. And, Lynch gets the job done. Any thoughts on this one, Marcel?
Yeah, I feel like Lynch was also stronger in the wrestling department. You know what I mean? He took him down definitely in the third round, and he kept him there. And practically, you couldn't do a lot. So yeah, I think it was a smart approach for once by Philippe Lynch in the UFC in the third round, where he probably knew it was 1-1. And he won the fight, and it was a necessary win. He was 0-2. I think he gets like $75,000 every fight, and with a win bonus he gets extra, so he earns $150K for a win. So I think this was needed, but I don't know what they're gonna do next, man. Normally, I think after 3 fights you get they're gonna reconsider your contract. But I feel like with Lentz, if you got a 4-fight deal, they might let him fight the 4th fight, and let's see what they do after that. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So yeah. And for Pragnio, I hope for him he gets another one. But he was on a 2-fight win streak. But before that, he lost the first 3 or 4. I think the first 3 with all knockouts. So I don't know. I hope for him he gets another one, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a funny record, right? He's got losses to like Alvey, Lins, Mike Rodriguez. He's not in the UFC anymore, but he's got the win over Roundtree. And that Villanueva win, which really is not a great win, but the Roundtree win is good.
He also has losses to Ankalaev and to Rakic, right?
Yeah, I know. Pedro versus Lins. I think that makes sense. You know, Pedro. I think he could be a contender. I'll give him that, but he's got to slowly build himself back up after such a long way off. Pedro took like no damage though. I'd like to see him get back in there quickly, Marcel. Hopefully they can book him for another fight.
Put him along with Ty on the international fight week card. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that would make sense. You know, I know it's not in Australia or New Zealand, but it's still a fight card that, like you said, a lot of fans from around the world probably come. You know, especially with the COVID kind of dying down a little bit. All right, let's get to the fight that everyone wants to talk about: Mike Jackson and Dean Barry. Biggest upset of the year, I believe, in the UFC, plus 900 underdog here. Mike Jackson gets the win by DQ. Eye poke. Well, I got a lot of thoughts on this. Last week, we talked about the fight, and I said, like, he's a good striker, but the grappling's bad, and the size is scary, and don't bet minus 1,500. I really hope people didn't parlay this guy. That's just a terrible bet because no experience in the UFC, 4 fights in his career. He should have won the fight. I mean, Marcel, honestly, he was winning the stand-up. He dropped Mike Jackson. He did record a knockdown. But 2 nut shots that were pretty brutal, including a spinning one, which it's hard to see coming. And then obviously probably one of the worst eye gouges I've seen, to be honest with you. You know, obviously Dean Barry's come on Twitter, and I think he's deleted his Twitter since then, but he basically said Mike Jackson wimped out of the fight and wanted out and took the easy way out. And Mike Jackson's kind of firing back now, and it's just kind of getting nasty. The guy broke the rules, Marcel, and I'm glad they DQ'd him, honestly, because we've just too many guys are getting away with stuff these days. And I think hopefully after last week with the crazy fight ending fouls where guys were winning fights with illegal blows, which makes no sense. Now you're seeing what happens. Like if you have a ref in there that's willing to call a DQ, Marcel, and you know your boy Chris Tione he's not afraid to call a controversial decision here. I'm fine with the DQ, Marcel. I think it's the right call. I want to hear your thoughts, man.
Yeah, dude is still a schmuck, but he was right on this one. You know, I feel like, you know, there were 3 falls, and our guys was nasty. You know, I think it wasn't. He says intentional. I don't think it was intentional, but it was definitely bad. You know, and it was as bad that you can disqualify somebody. You know what I mean? So I don't think somebody would do that intentional. And a little bit, I talk to Dean Barry sometimes. He's not a nasty guy like that. He doesn't do that, but he got deservedly disqualified there, you know. And that he wants to talk about it a little bit on Twitter. You know, these fighters all do that. Most of them will say like, oh, is this or is that. Only a few will take responsibility, you know what I mean, for actually what they did. But I think it was a deserved disqualification, you know, and it's unfortunate, you know, because I think Mike Jackson would never win the fight if it went to to a decision, TKO or submission. But man, the crazy way, right, to get your first win in an MMA, to get your first win, disqualification, while you have a loss and then no contest already on your record. So, yeah, but what can you do? You know, you can do a rematch. I don't know. Do you want to see a rematch? Who else would you want to see them fight?
I want to see the rematch, but I want to see it in like Titan FC or Shamrock FC.
Yeah,
these guys should not be the UFC. You know, like now I think Mike will get another fight because technically he won, and I think he's got. I think he said he has 2 more fights. So he had the fight with Mickey Gall, and apparently they re-signed to a 4-fight deal. The Punk fight was the first one. This is the second one. So he got 2 more fights. I'm with you, Marcel. I talk about this all the time, though. I say this all the time, right? With these huge favorites. And I go, guys, just be careful because it's MMA. You know, fights, Marcel, I've seen where a guy breaks his, arm, breaks his leg, you lose. DQ, the ref fucks it up. There's so many things that can happen in a fight. And we saw it in this fight. I think that Mike Jackson had one way to win the fight, guys. It was probably by DQ, and that's how it happened. Because I don't think he would have won the fight otherwise, Marcel, honestly. He didn't really land anything. He wasn't doing much. But Barry looked really bad too, man. Oh, this fight was so bad. I was laughing during this fight. I'm like, this fight's so bad. I'm like, Jesus, fight's bad, you know? Can't wait to see Mike Jackson continue his winning streak. Well, the one no contest we've got, he's got, Mike Jackson's got more wins in the UFC than like John Alessio. He had like 5 fights. He never won a fight, Marcel.
He fought for a title, right?
Yeah, he's got more wins than Fedor in the UFC. It's pretty crazy.
Just like, what's his name again? The Australian guy. He also fought once for a title. I think against Ortiz.
Elvis Sinicic or something?
Yeah, he got that one win against Jeremy.
He had one win, I know, or something like that. Yeah. What does Dean and Priscilla have in common? You're talking about Priscilla Cachoeira? Oh, the eye pokes, yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. You're right. Barry striking was well. He did record a knockdown, I'll give him that. But after the knockout, it looked like he was tiring out, man. So who knows? Maybe he would have lost by just because Mike's probably the better conditioned fighter.
I honestly feel like you're talking too long about this fight.
I know, but it was just so ridiculous. Like I was so my mind was blown because you don't really see these kind of huge upsets, right? But again, Marcel, it's MMA. Things happen like this, you know. Barry was leaving his chin open to counter. He was getting countered a little bit, but anyways, I think that's good. We'll stop talking about that card now, Marcel. All right, let's go to Bellator, Marcel. We'll recap the Bellator cards. So obviously, we both picked Liz Carmouche to win last week. Hopefully, you guys tailed us and picked her as the dog. But the fight, the ending was controversial. I know you have a different thought than against the grain, I guess. Here's my thoughts on it. I thought Velasquez was winning 30-27. I really thought she won the first 3 rounds. It was a competitive fight, but I thought she edged them out. 2 of the judges agreed with that, by the way. I think that, the stoppage in a title fight, man, I think you got to let the fighter take a little bit more damage. I do think that the fact it was a title fight should come into play. It wasn't like this is just some amateur fight, So I think that in that reasoning, it's too soon. I will say that people saying, oh, there's only 13 seconds left. That doesn't matter. I don't think that matters at all. The ref's job is not to look at the clock. It's never to look at the clock. And we've seen guys get stopped with 1 minute, 1 second left. It's more for me just the fact it's a title fight and she wasn't like knocked out, and Liz is like, well, I wouldn't have broken her eye or knocked her unconscious. Well, you didn't. So I think that the ref, Mike Beltran in this case, it's not the worst stoppage I've seen, but I think it was a little bit early personally. I would have let her just take some more shots, but it is what it is. Carmouche gets the job done. I picked her, so I'm happy I got my pick right. I'm just saying I want things to be the right way. So I don't know. What do you guys give your thoughts? I want to hear Marcel's and I want to hear you guys' thoughts. You guys can talk in the chat a little bit. Marcel, go ahead.
For me, it was a justifiable stoppage, man, and I'll tell you why. She got in a crucifix position, right, Carmouche, and she was landing elbows. I agree the elbows didn't do a lot of damage, basically not a lot at all, Velasquez wasn't adjusting her position, couldn't adjust her position or better her position. I think she didn't try to get out. I think she was waiting till the clock was ending there, And you can't do that. There were I think 10 unanswered elbows, not all that hard, but 10 unanswered elbows. These are just unanswered strikes. So Beltran has every right to step in, and then people saying she was up 30-27. Yeah, that sucks. Green Zombie was up 4-1 when Jair knocked him out. It was, by the way, a clean knockout, but I'm just saying you can lose when you're up, I understand that people saying there wasn't much damage done, so why you can't let it continue a little bit longer. Imagine he lets it continue a little bit more longer and Carmouche lands another 2 strikes, but these 2 strikes break her nose, break her eye socket or whatever, or break whatever. Then people will say, dude, you should have stopped that earlier because now you let her take too much damage. So there's always an in-between thing, you know what I mean? You can't say it's a good thing. You can say it's an early stoppage, but you also can say he prevented her from getting more hurt. So it's a 50-50 thing for me. I don't think it's a bad stoppage at all. I think you can stop the fight. Would it have been continued? I wouldn't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? But I think it's an unanswered strike. So she didn't defend herself well. Fight got stopped. And dude, I don't care. Do a rematch. Fight the winner of Kielholz of Watanabe. I don't fight Justin Kish. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Do something. But it's a little bit. Everybody's going against Mike Beltran, man, on Twitter. It's pretty sad, to be honest. And also,
he's one of the best refs in the game. But it's not like he's Mike or Marcel. Everyone, including him, could fuck up a stoppage.
Yeah.
I still think the Gina Mazzani fight last year, when she fought Cachoeira, who we talked about earlier, that stand-up was bad. I thought. I don't know.
Yeah.
Remember that one? That was a bad stand-up.
But do you know? anything else Mike Beltran effed up?
Okay, was
Maybe
he the ref?
Ricky
Was he the
Simone,
ref?
Uriah Faber.
Was he the ref in Arlovsky and Roy Nelson back in the day? Was he the ref in that fight?
I don't know for sure, my man.
Let me double check that because that was also a stand up. It wasn't a stop. It was like a stand up that led to a stoppage.
Do you mean in
Who was that
the?
ref? Oh no, it was referee Jorge Ortiz, who I haven't seen ref in forever. Anyways, let me get these comments. Ryan thinks it was a little bit early. I thought so, but it is what it is. You don't stop fighter when trying to defend who are mounted. That's the thing. Like, but the crucifix is a brutal position, right? I just think it was really quick. That's all.
Do you remember John Jones, Vladimir Matyushenko?
Yes. Brutal.
It was also kind of the same thing.
Yeah, those elbows were like this though, Marcel. It was like, like I don't know. To me, like this one wasn't like that, but get this comment. I thought it was early, but where's the consistency? We look at Keith Pearson the following day. Yeah, I agree with that. That's the biggest thing I think people are pissed about, Marcel. You see some fights they get stopped early, and some they get brutally late, like that one. Papa thinks being a wrestler is always able to make decisions for the clear for the refs, leaving the refs' hands. I agree with that too. You know, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Big John's inconsistent in the opinion of the stoppages. It's tough for John because he's friends with all these refs too, right? Like he doesn't want to piss them off, you know.
Big John, amazing referee, but that's a commentator.
Yeah.
Man, rough, but I wouldn't say too much about it. So
just a couple of their fights. Enrique Brizola gets the win over Nikita Mikolov. He moves on to the tournament. We got to talk about this guy, Danny Sabatello, the Italian gangster, gets the win over Jordan Lugo. So this guy is a problem. I'm going to say that right now. This guy could be a champion, and he might win the tournament. His wrestling is absolutely dominant, and I think he's turning into one of the best shit talkers in the sport. I'm really enjoying listening to this guy on the mic. I really like it. He's so confident right now. I think this guy's pretty good, Marcel, honestly. Back-to-back wins over Brett Johnson, Jordan Lugo, and Bellator. The guy's pretty good, Marcel. I know he had a really boring fight in Contender Series, basically late in parade. That's why Dana passed, but Marcel, this guy's really good. Any thoughts on this dude? What?
I did a preview, Bellator preview show with Santiago and with Mike Heck. Mike said, hot take, Danny Sabatello is going to win the Grand Prix and he's going to piss everybody off. So I was like, yeah. The thing is, it's actually sad, you know, because Dana White had the chance to contract him, you know, and he didn't because he thought he was boring. But do you think when you're like the boss of the UFC and you have been like for 20, 25 years in the sport, that you should see the talent in the kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he didn't, you know, and now he's at Bellator. And those are good wins, dude, against Brad Jones on short notice back then, remember, were a few days notice. And against Jordan Lugo, those are really solid wins, you know. And he's fighting Leandro Higo next, right? Tell you to be honest, man, I don't think Higo wins that fight. I think
he wins this fight too.
Yeah.
This guy's really good, guys. Like Marcel, I like the shit talking though too. I
know you do.
I like it. I think he's really good in the mic, man. Like I think this guy's good, man. And I want to say, like, I remember talking about on the, I think it was with you and maybe it was Nicole at that point, but I remember saying, like, you know, it was a boring fight. It was the one against Taylor Moore contender. It was a very boring fight, but still, knowing the guy had 14 minutes of top control, I mean, that should have told you this guy's a solid wrestler. That if he improves his ground game with the ground and pound, which he has, I mean, he didn't get a finish, but you saw how much damage he did in this fight. I think it was 30-26, right? I don't know. I think this guy was kind of the star of the weekend for Bellator, man. I think they've kind of found a new star here a little bit, Marcel, potentially with this guy. Sabatello talks talk, walks the walk. Super entertaining. I like this dude, man. Oh yeah, he's got Twitter now too. I followed him today. He's pervert Twitter. He's gonna get to the side of the bracket first. Yeah, Stotts will be a great fight if he gets that fight. That would be amazing. So, I mean, yeah, I enjoy his performance. Just some other fights on there. Like someone was saying, Christian Edwards lost. Dave Andrews lost too. There's a couple other upsets. McCall Cooper, who's Ray Cooper's brother, upset minus 1,000 favorite, got submitted. So, pretty crazy. The other card is Bellator 279 as well. And, you know, I want to be honest with you guys. I wasn't really planning on watching these cards, you know. It's just tough for me now. I have so much going on. But the baby was sleeping and the fiance was sleeping, Marcel. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go sit in the couch and watch Bellator. So I put my headphones on, watched it on my laptop. And, man, I think this card was pretty entertaining, guys. I got to be honest. I mean, I watched, what's it called? the UFC, and then I switched over. So I missed some of the prelims, but I was kind of keeping track on Twitter. But let's just go through the fight. So I want to start with the main event here, man. Let me get the comments first. Sorry, guys. Let me get these comments, and I'll do it. I like Bellator. It's got some great fighters the last 2 years. There's a lot of good things about Bellator. You know, I think the production value is very high. I think the walkouts are really good. Personally, they have some really good fighters. But you know, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of mismatches, man. I don't like mismatches, and half these guys are -1,000. You know, you do see upsets occasionally, but I like even fights. You look at UFC almost every week. I know there's obviously Romanov and Dean Barry are kind of outliers, but mostly the fights are even, Marcel. Like they're, you know, -200 or less usually in the UFC, which I like because it makes you really use your brain to really think about the fights. There's no more difference between Danny's performance on Dane White's contender series and Ronnie Lawrence. Yeah, it's true. I mean, Lawrence, he was also a machine with the takedowns, but got the contract. A couple other comments and questions. I'm going to answer them in a second here. Let's just go through the card first. I see you, Marcus. I'm going to answer your question. Let's want to talk about Bellator quickly. I love the main event. It was such an entertaining fight. Cris Cyborg defeats Arlene Blencow by decision, Marcel. Arlene Blencow is such a warrior, man. I mean, she has 24 MMA fights now, has not been knocked out. She's an absolute beast. She walks forward, taking damage. This was such an entertaining fight. I thought Cyborg looked phenomenal. Her striking looked incredible. The kicks, the punches, dropped the girl, but she couldn't get knocked out. She did land an illegal knee, which, I mean, the opponent or Blencow could have melted, maybe taken a DQ, maybe, but I'm glad she didn't. It just turned out to be a great fight. I don't know if you caught. Did you watch the fight? I love this fight, dude. It was such a good fight. What'd you think?
Was a great fight, you know, but yeah, I mean, did we really were surprised about the outcome? Maybe that Blencow went.
I am surprised it went the distance.
Yeah,
that's the part that surprises me. Yeah.
And then the weird ass tweet afterwards from the Don Davis dude from PFL, like, what do you think? Our Cyborg should have been like a decision or something. What do you think about a future matchup against Kayla Harrison? Oh, that's dude, what the hell, you know? And then Cyborg replied to him. So that was funny to me.
I'm telling you right now, they're really. I mean, Kayla Harrison's incredible, okay, with the wrestling, but Cyborg's way more proven. She has great wrestling too, and she's a way better striker. I think Cyborg wins that fight. I'll pick her right now. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you with Don Davis. I mean, this guy, and also Scott Coker's like, okay, you guys are talking shit on Twitter. Give me a phone call. Did you see that? He's like, why are you guys like messaging us on Twitter? He's like, if you guys want to, you know, basically fight or make that fight, give us a call. Anyways, she says she wants to do boxing next, Marcel. So we'll see. But I don't know what's her contract status like with Bellator. Is that it?
I think that was her last fight.
That's what I thought too. But then Scott Coker said in her contract there's a boxing clause. Maybe she's on a champions clause and she has to fight again. I'm not sure if it keeps like tolling. We'll see what happens. But I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing fighting Harrison, but I think she should be favored. And I think that the line will be very close. And she might be the underdog because people are all over Kayla Harrison these days. But I think Cyborg's very complete. People underrate her grappling, Marcel. Great grappler in addition to the striking. A couple other fights here. Rafion Stotts knocks out Juan Archelair with a head kick. I mean, just incredible, man. Just incredible knockout. Any thoughts on this one, man?
Yeah, amazing win, man, for Rafion, and I'm happy that he's finally got a belt, you know. I think has been underrated for so many years. People really still count him out because of that Marab loss, I think, you know, not anymore, but for a long time. And that's why I hadn't signed for the bigger promotion yet. Then Bellator picked him up and he has looked solid at Bellator, you know, really good. And I think he's a big talent. I'm happy he got a belt. It's an interim belt, but still it's a belt. And yeah, good win. Beautiful finish as well. You know, graced the top of the head with the knee. So yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was like, you know what it reminded me of, Marcel? When what's his name?
Mariah Sterling?
Mariah and Sterling. Yeah, because he went for the kick and then knocked out with the knee. Just fucking incredible. I loved it. I mean, the guy is really good. And again, another guy the UFC passed on, right, Marcel? So he should be in the UFC. Bantamweight division is ridiculous, by the way. Justin Kish defeats Lee McFarlane with the upset here. I didn't expect this fight. I didn't expect her to win this fight. McFarlane looked really bad in this fight. She looked rusty. She looked like just bad everywhere. Kish, great takedown defense, Marcel. I think, you know, one thing I'll say is it just shows the difference, especially with Liz Carmouche also winning. I know it was kind of controversial, but it does show you the difference between the UFC's fighters and Bellator's divisions, kind of, Marcel, because Kish was like, she just got cut by the UFC. She was barely competitive. And then she goes out there and beats their former champion pretty convincingly. I understand that the girl was coming off a layoff for, I think it was a knee injury, but the fight was not close, Marcel. I mean, it was even the most biased judge in Hawaii could not score for her.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I'm like, there's going to be a split, isn't it? Some judge is going to give her 2 rounds somehow. But no. So I think the right fighter won. Patchy Mix, another surprise for me, Marcel. I didn't think he'd win this fight. He beats Kyoji Horiguchi. I thought it was a 10-8 round, too. I thought this fight was very similar to Sterling and Yan, the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
Patchy Mix, man, gets the job done. Just been a little bigger and just controlled Kyoji Horiguchi. And any thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, I think a really good win for Patchy Mix, right? Again, establishing himself as one of the better prospects still in MMA, in my opinion. You know, he only got that loss over Archuleta, right? So, yeah. I mean, and Kyoji Horiguchi, winning against Kyoji Horiguchi is big, you know. And Horiguchi is now 0-2 in Bellator. Yeah, after his comeback, he got actually.
Yeah, he had the win over Caldwell, so he 1-2 now. But actually, overall, he's lost 3 of his last 4, which is really surprising to me because I think he's such a great fighter. But
yeah, I agree.
You know, he's not a bantamweight, Marcel. He's a flyweight, and I don't think he's in the right weight class. Any thoughts on that?
Sorry, I didn't catch the last thing.
I don't think he's fighting the right weight class. I think he should go back to flyweight, which they don't have though in Bellator. So
yeah,
you know, I don't know why the UFC cut this guy. I mean, he's very
because they're stupid.
Yeah, that was a really dumb. I agree. He is a.
They cut Bagatinov as well back then.
Yeah, it's true. They were cutting a lot of guys. Dustin Ortiz was another guy. Other fight I want to talk quickly. Yancy Medeiros gets the win over Manuel Sanchez as a big underdog, plus 250 dog. Man, good to see that, eh? And he says he wants a new contract. I think they'll resign him, right, to a new contract.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, for sure.
Do you think it looks bad in the UFC now that they cut him because he's such a warrior? You know, win or lose.
I don't know. It depends on but the UFC it depends on what money you are. You know,
That's
I don't know what Yancy made. So
he's probably making good money. I mean, he's been in the UFC for almost 10 years, right? So
for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I think he was making some decent coin. Let's just get through. Let's do PFL quickly as well, Marcel. So PFL, I don't know if it was on Wednesday. It's been a little while since now, but just quickly talk about it. Yeah, I mean, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
I only saw the main event and the finishes on Twitter.
Yeah. So I just want to hear your thoughts on the main event. Jeremy Stevens loses his decision. Very competitive fight. Clay Collard gets the win there. Man, Clay Collard, another guy the UFC really shouldn't give up. I've always enjoyed watching him fight. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think they had at a certain moment they had him back, right, in the UFC, and then he didn't get the opportunity, or he got injured, and they cut him again. And before that, he was in the UFC. So, yeah, I feel like Stevens did also very well, in my opinion. I think if he fought someone else, he might have got the win. But Clay Collard, dude, has a chin as well, and good win for Clay Collard. What can I say? I picked Collard before the fight, and I'm happy I picked him. So
yeah. By the way, and I want to say I want to get things right here, and this guy's right. You know, I misspoke. That's true about Horiguchi. He actually did turn down the UFC offer. That's true. That was 5 years ago, and the money was probably shit that they offered him.
They probably lowballed him.
Yeah, that's what the thing. It was probably like 40. I don't know, maybe 40 and 40. Maybe I'm not even sure if it was that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, as far as the other PFL fights go, yeah, obviously we had that win in the main event. Rosh Manfield knocks out Don Madge. He was down 2 rounds, Marcel, and got the job done. That's a nice win. You know, Don Madge is pretty good, man, and it's a nice win. So I like that one. Torres Carlos Jr., he was a minus 3,000 favorite. He won in 29 seconds, so the odds were good there.
It's
go ahead.
That's like this dude he fought. That was one of the guys who won in the Challenger Series, right?
I don't think he was. I think he was just a random guy. I don't think he was on Challenger.
Why the hell would you match him up with Antonio Carlos Jr.?
This was just a random matchup. He wasn't on the Challenger, Marcel. No.
Okay.
He was a 7-2 guy or something.
7-1.
8-1, actually. 8-1. Yeah. Just a weird-ass matchup. OAM defeats Nathan Schulte by decision. That's a good win for him. I think Schulte's a really underrated guy.
I agree.
Corey Hendricks knocks out Emiliano Sordi, a big underdog, Marcel. He's like a plus 400 underdog, I want to say. Huge upset there. Corey Hendricks has actually got a couple upsets now in PFL. He knocked out, was it Martin Hamlet, or submitted him last year? That was a big upset. Remember that?
Corey Hendricks got screwed, yes.
Another former UFC fighter. I think he went 1-1, I want to say, or 0-1.
Yeah, he got screwed last year in PFL, man. He fought one fight, and he got a finish, I think.
Right. Yes.
And the other guy, I think it was actually Sordi who he fought, had 2 fights and had the same amount of points. And because he had to cut 2 times weight, he went through to the quarterfinals. Didn't make fucking sense, or to the semifinals.
Yeah, but that's a good win for him, man.
Yeah.
Alex Martinez v. Steve Rigg, another Canadian guy. He's good. Martin Hamlet wins his fight. Omari Akhmedov gets a knockout, Marcel.
Yeah.
Rob Wilkinson gets a knockout, and Sammy Powell gets a knockout. There's some good knockouts, man. It's almost a week ago, But this was Carver's not bad, I think PFL's got some pretty good fights going on. The ratings are horrible though. Like I don't think anyone's watching. That's why I just don't think it's going to last that long. But I think PFL is nice because I think that it's an alternative to the UFC and Bellator, and also I think they're paying their fighters really well. So I think that's a good thing.
I got lucky here, man. I have a shared account with my dad for Formula One, and that Viaplay is the name, and that company also bought the PFL rights, so I can watch it now as well. So that's cool.
That's good. Do you think Sean Shelby enjoyed Madge getting knocked out? I don't even know what the story was there. What was the story? Why did he get released? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Sure. It was weird. Like he had that amazing win over Tay Edwards. I was like,
he's had visa issues, but why the hell he can fight for PFL then and not for the UFC? So I don't know. Makes
no sense. Thoughts on Hardy and Sanchez?
Yeah.
Well, it's 16-ounce gloves, guys. That's the other thing. It's like basically sparring. It's a hard sparring match. You can still get hurt in it, obviously, but I'm not interested in it. Any thoughts on you?
No.
I'm not interested in it. I know Tyson Fury won, obviously, and you had Nagano in the ring, so I want to answer Marcus's question from earlier. If you were Dana White, would you with Francis? I think it's a good question, Marcus. I want to answer it. It's tough because, he's the champion right now, but he's clearly not, I would say, happy in the UFC. I don't think he's happy right now. He, I believe, becomes a free agent in January or something like that, but now he's saying he might return in November, December, so it's possible he could take one more fight in the UFC, but I think, the best thing for everyone would probably be to figure out the money, Marcel, like basically, what's it called? The McGregor and Mayweather fight where Dana got a cut of the fight. Maybe that's the best thing to do, Marcel. Any thoughts?
I feel like, why does McGregor get the privilege to fight in boxing and other guys don't? You know what I mean? So why not? And if that makes your relationship better with Francis, why wouldn't you do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'll tell you right now, I won't pick him in that fight. I mean, it's just I don't think it's a good fight for him, but it's still a huge fight. People will watch that fight. Two just monsters, Marcel. Two huge dudes, and I think it will be a big fight as far as money, promotion, the spectacle, the walkout, everything like that. But the actual fight, I think, unless Nagano lands that massive punch, which he could, but with boxing gloves on, especially Marcel, it's not MMA gloves. You could take more shots because there's a little bit more padding. I mean, Fury hits hard as fuck though. So I mean, yeah, it's tough. I mean, Fury to be, he's shown a great chin overall in his career too. He's been dropped, but gets back up, recovers well. I don't know, Mark. So I'm not super interested in it, but I'll obviously watch it. I'd rather see Francis fight than MMA personally because I love him.
If I tell you I never watched the complete fight between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, do you believe me?
Yeah. No, I for sure. I said Andrews do his Cyborg. He didn't keep him active. Okay. Oh, yeah. Chris, his Cyborg and him are friends. Chris Cyborg. The guy was going to give UFC a purse, possibly. This is funny. This guy's talking about my bowling shirt right now. Storm sucks. Columbia is better. Yeah, I mean they're all good, man. Honestly, I have balls from all the companies. But I just have the Storm jersey. I'm going right now, actually. Yeah, we got to get out here. Actually, Marcel. Now I see it. I'm a little bit over an hour. Just really briefly, there was LFA card. This Canadian guy. Man, I cannot pronounce his name for the life of me. I'm gonna try.
Kowich or something. Yeah.
Maryish. Oh my gosh, this is so hard, guys. Ishakowitz or something. It's so brutal, guys. He was on Contender Series. I think he needs to be signed by the UFC, Marcel. What do you think at this point?
Yeah, why not? Didn't he also fight in the Contender Series, right?
He did. He lost. It was a close fight, but he lost. Since then, 2 straight knockouts in the first round.
We fought again in the Contender Series.
This guy, Mario Souza, young Brazilian guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's fought since then either. Actually, no, I'm wrong. He's fought twice since then, and he 3 times. He lost to Chidi, and then he's won twice on the regional scene. So, I mean, yeah.
Oh, he fought Chidi in LFA as well, right?
Yeah. No, in Contender.
Oh, he's fought twice Contender, Mario Souza. Okay,
yeah. And then the other card was Fury FC, and our boy, what's his name? Anthony Romero, my boy, Canadian guy, gets the job done. Marcel, he's another guy that Dana White passed on. You think he should have been in the UFC as well, Anthony Romero?
Yeah, for sure, man.
And by the way, sorry, he beat Mike Breeden, who's fighting this weekend, by the way.
Yeah. And by the way, dude, I said on Twitter, great week for Canada, right?
Oh, it's huge. I couldn't believe it. And that's the thing, I'm like, man, we're due for a loss, but we didn't get them. We just kept winning. It was fucking amazing. And then this weekend we have our boy Johan, the White Lion Lennes, another Canadian guy. He's fighting this weekend. So, pardon, Marcel?
Tristan Connolly
as well, Boondock. So we got some Canadians this weekend, man. It's crazy, right? Because like all of a sudden we have these Canadian guys fighting. I guess because obviously COVID, things are open, the travels were open. That's why we're seeing it right now. So it's hilarious. If I wasn't in a wheelchair, I'd smoke you. Probably. No, I'm pretty good actually. I'm good at it. What do you guys think of the nut shot? Oh yeah. We didn't talk about that. I didn't talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy tried to fake a nut shot, and then the replay showed it was to the leg, I believe, right? So, I mean, I'm glad they have replay. I guess they have replay in Hawaii. It's crazy that Hawaii has replay, but like all these other states don't have replay, right, Marcel?
Yeah, man. I think the guy was related to Neymar. So, yeah. And if you don't know who Neymar is, look him up.
All right. Let's get out of here, Marcel. Plug your stuff.
Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, Eurosport.nl, Mixed Martial Arts section.
There you go. Let's go. You follow me on Twitter at MMAOB Podcast is at MMAOBspeaker.com. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all those places, guys. Appreciate everyone listens every week. Really appreciate it, guys. It's always fun. More the merrier. Back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern to break down UFC Vegas 53. Font versus Vera. Looking forward to all of that card. Marcel with you. And in the meantime, guys, follow me on my work over at MMAOBspeaker.com. I got all the opening odds up for this week's cards. Bookies.com. My best bets coming out Wednesday, and then my MMA news with some news. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, for the breakdown. Peace.